give the floor to Ambassador His Excellency Mohan Pieris, Permanent Representative of Sri Lanka. Welcome back, Ambassador. Thank you.
Chair, Ambassador H.E.Mr. Pauluskas, thank you for giving me this opportunity and the floor. Let me congratulate you and the Bureau on your election to this important committee. We assure you of our fullest support in guiding the deliberations to a fruitful outcome, and we have every confidence in your competency to take this discussion to its logical end, where we would walk away from here with some outcomes. Sri Lanka aligns itself with the statement delivered by the NAM and wish to make these observations in our national capacity. Mr. Chair, it is said that the prospect of the United Nations security action unbound by international law runs like a red thread through the Charter. You will appreciate that the achievement of peace and security is the raison d'etre for the member states of the UN. We must therefore endeavor, I say, to consider elements that could draw out a comprehensive program of action through a context-specific approach. We must therefore support such initiatives in order to strike a balance, I say, to incorporate a full range of opinions, to achieve flexibility and tangible results. I don't think we have a choice about that if we are to move this to a meaningful end. It is no secret, Mr. Chairman, that there has been a slow pace in reaching intended goals in the first committee. In this context, I believe that we must make our best efforts in these sessions to deliver a set of substantive recommendations to achieve universal peace and security. And that would be my appeal to all my friends who are here. We meet at a time, Mr. Chair, when the international security architecture is fraught with danger and strained at the seams, as someone described it. Superpower rivalries have intensified and have spiraled into creating chaos in almost all of human activity, whether on land, air, sea, cyberspace, and now outer space. The frequency and intensity of nuclear rhetoric has assumed alarming proportions, as well as moves to weaponize all domains, including of cyberspace and outer space. The many of us who have over the years espoused multilateral solutions to disarmament and non-proliferation in the endeavor to create a peaceful world have been forced to endure the economic and other negative consequences brought about by direct conflict and resultant recriminatory measures which have affected the highest of human values globally, sad to say, which have hitherto been undertaken by those member states on whom lies the greatest responsibility in these matters. Our expectations, Mr. Chair, have been shattered. It is therefore not difficult, I say, to understand that it was in this deteriorating international security environment that two NPT review conferences have taken place without an outcome document. Mr. Chairman, this only reflects the challenges and divisions among member states in addressing critical issues relating to nuclear non-proliferation and disarmament. We must, however, despite the disparities, we must look at these discussions, I say, as opportunities to assess progress, identify areas of concern, and develop strategies to strengthen the treaty implementation. We must, I say, make every effort to bridge the gaps between the different perspectives and build nothing but trust among member states. My dedication is of the considerate view. My view is that we look up on the inability to produce an outcome at previous conferences should serve as a catalyst for renewed commitment and for more concerted effort to achieve the objectives of this conference. Our failures must be the reason for our success. In other words, no member states, I say, was too big to disarm on its own, and none, I say, is too small to make a contribution. Last year, we pledged that it was high time to stand up to those in possession of these weapons of mass destruction and declare that we cannot wait any longer. Let us steadfastly stand our ground. Mr. Chairman, it is in this context that my delegation wishes to repeatedly reiterate the importance of the very principles of multilateral disarmament that have brought a beacon of hope, I say, for humanity to save us from global annihilation. Over the years, as we see, the Non-Proliferation Treaty, the Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty, the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons have formed the bulwark of the international treaty system seeking to rid the world of nuclear weapons. I am pleased to say that Sri Lanka in July ratified the CTBT and during the recently concluded High Week acceded to the TPNW. Now, despite these achievements of the CTBT and the progressive development of its verification regime, we remain deeply concerned, however, of the prolonged delay in its entry into force. Mr. Chairman, delays in ratification can be attributed undoubtedly to multiple reasons. It must be appreciated that these delays can hinder progress in achieving nuclear disarmament, non-proliferation effects, and the promotion of peaceful uses of nuclear energy. Member states must recognize, I say, the significance of the nuclear treaties and the role it plays in enhancing global security. We must intensify diplomatic efforts and encourage ratification. It is equally important that we engage with states that have not yet ratified in an endeavor to understand their reservations and help in finding common ground and address any outstanding issues. Should we consider, I'm asking the question, should we consider a fresh start which is sensitive to present geopolitical issues and be open to greater accommodation and flexibility with the objective of achieving our final objective? In keeping with its long-standing commitment to nuclear non-proliferation and disarmament, Sri Lanka was pleased to accede, as I said, to the TPNW, and we urge all states to commit itself to a nuclear-free world. Let me turn briefly to cyberspace. The cyber domain today has become a vital component in our endeavor to create a safer and secure world, as well as for mutual prosperity, given the increasing relevance in e-commerce and the day-to-day functions in this digital sphere. The loose arrangements in this regulatory oversight of cyberspace must be visited as one of urgency. Mr. Chairman, despite all these efforts, cyber threats remain a concern not only for Sri Lanka but for all member states. Sri Lanka also welcomes the consensual adoption of the outcome documents of the OEWG on development in the field of information and telecommunications in the context of international security. Mr. Chairman, the convening of the substantive sessions of the UNDC this April was another welcome measure. I cannot but make reference to the fact of the use of conventional weapons and the number of conflicts around the world which are presently at its highest level, and this is most worrying. I will leave you, Mr. Chair, and my friends with the thoughts I spoke of by Rousseau, a social thinker and philosopher who believed in the innate goodness of man and his perfectibility.
Ambassador, thank you very much for